And good afternoon, racing fans. Welcome to Hawthorne Racecourse here for a Thursday afternoon of thoroughbred action. Did Lisa make it in time? I don't know if she did. She was coming over to say hi to us down here in the PointsBet Sportsbook, Emily. She's always a bundle of joy. So it's one of those things. I mean, I think she was too fast and just kind of ran through the screen, Emily.
She was pretty funny yesterday. You know, Ravelli had the 6 horse in on the turf, right?
Yes,
and she goes,
Fit to Fly.
Fit to Fly. And she goes, Ravelli has a horse in this race. What number is it? And I was like, if you had no other piece of information, just look at the board. What number do you think?
In her world, there's only one number in horse racing, and it's 3. So no matter what, whatever she says, it's bet the 3. So, but yes, Fit to Fly had a good day. It was good to see Jareth Ludbury yesterday. Jareth had a good day in the saddle, too.
Absolutely.
It's good to see him back. I can tell you 2 fills, he said, has been training very well. They're pointing towards the Ohio Derby. I love that move because I think the Belmont's going to be crazy tough, and horses just don't need to go 1.5 miles if that's not what they're going to do for their career either.
I agree. I don't think the Belmont would be the right spot. I'm only sad because he's not going to run here in the Hawthorne Derby, which I would love to see. Give him a chance to run on the turf. But I think the Connections are taking the right move, putting him in the right spot, and their plan is to go down the road, right? Looking at bigger and better things. So the management for this horse has been perfect all along. So whether I'd love to see him here and on the turf, I can't fault the Connections what they've done this far.
Here's what would be really cool, though. All right, go through your 3-year-old campaign, okay? Stick with me here. Have a great year for your 3-year-old campaign. Stay healthy. That's the most important thing all the way through. And then maybe down the line, if you see a return of the Hawthorne Gold Cup here, that's 1.25 miles on the dirt. He loves this track. He would like the distance. Maybe somewhere down the line, maybe we could see 2 fills going 2 turns here at Hawthorne and doing so at a distance that you know he can handle too. Yeah,
that would be awesome. And obviously for everybody here, he's just been a favorite for everybody and for obvious reasons, such a good horse to root for. So yeah, that'll be exciting. Only a few weeks away.
Yeah, good horse, good connection. So we'll see the Hawthorne Derby coming up on June the 25th, the Horse Players Invitational that day as well. So a lot going on. But before we jump into today's card, we have our Saturday Stakes preview because there's good racing around the country. There's a really good card at Belmont Park. Churchill has a lot of stakes as well. It was hard to pick which stake to go with, Emily, but we went with race number 10. That's a grade 3 Blame going 1 1/8 miles. It's interesting because this race is on the main track, and we'll get to Santine in a second and talk about him, but let's start with the 1 horse. That's Rattle and Roll in here. Brian Hernandez for trainer Kenny McPeak. This is a horse that's running against some of the top handicap horses around the country. Rattle and Roll, 3 starts on the year, 2 of them coming as victories in those last couple. Again, grade 3 company here, but I think this is a horse that's kind of a grade 1 type of handicap horse in my mind. What do you think?
It's interesting, actually very interesting that you said that, because you think that after the 2 grade 3 wins, they would consider running in a grade 1 or at least a grade 2. And they don't. And that was kind of the one thing that kind of concerned me a little bit, because we know he's proven in grade 3 company, and they might actually just think, you know what, we know we can kind of beat the brakes off this level. Let's just stick here, keep with the wins. But so I wonder, because he's been running races that you would think that, yes, to your point, he should be in that top caliber graded stakes race, and why he's not kind of gave me some reservation. But then going through the field, you're like, he is just so much the horse. I mean, he's in great form. As you mentioned, he has the 2 wins this year. But even going back to the Grade 2 New Orleans Classic, that was a better than looked race. That race was sneaky good. If you go back and watch that race, you are playing him in the Grade 3 Ben Ali, because that trip and that effort was so sneaky good. So again, he's been in form all year, and even going back to last year, according to optics figures, he has 6 straight triple-digit optics figures.
I mean, all of those would beat this field.
Yes. Even some of these horses on their best day. So I think he's coming into this race. He's listed as the morning line favorite, likely to be the favorite. There should be plenty of pace for his run. It is about holding form, though, because they are coming back in just 15 days and coming in off those 2 top efforts. So he will have to hold his form, which is a little bit of an unknown, when they're probably pointing to those other races. But as far as his current form, he is the horse to beat. But since he's going to be a short price, did you try to get creative in here?
I think there's multiple horses you can look at. So if you look a little bit further to the outside, let's start with the 7 horse here. That's Pioneer of Medina. This is a horse from the barn of trainer Todd Pletcher. This was a horse that ran in the Kentucky Derby last year, finished 19th in there. But again, kind of coming into form. Couple of good races in New Orleans. Also ran in the New Orleans handicap, finished 6th in there. but then ran a good race in that last down the Ben Alley, finished a third, beating only a length and 3/4 behind Rattle and Roll. I just tend to wonder, does this horse show speed again? Because this is a race that doesn't seem to have a ton of early pace in it either.
Yeah, the pace scenario is interesting. Optics has this as a red plot fit. There's a lot of horses that are kind of bunched up in there, with Pioneer Medina being one of those horses, and I think they will show early speed. Again, just kind of based on the draw. They had the rail last out, so it's kind of one of those you just sort of force your hand. But being somewhat on the outside, we'll have to see where Cook Creek ends up running, because for that horse, he'd be wheeling back in just a week as well. But Luis Saez getting back aboard has been assertive with this horse. I think if he's not on the lead, he's going to be at least second pushing the pace. But I think they're going to be forward. Again, we're just kind of looking at Optics plot right here. He is the furthest left on the plot, so if they want the lead, they're certainly quick enough to get it.
All right, now going to the 5 Santine, what do you make of this move? Because you look at this horse, 11 of 12 starts in his career have come on the turf, and the other start was synthetic. So you haven't run on a conventional dirt surface. This is going to be the first time doing it. Now, the works, the last couple of drills have come on the Churchill main track, but it's a proven horse. It's a Grade 1 winner on turf. They're going to a Grade 3 on the main track. What do you make of this move?
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting move, and I think that's probably the question of this. And really looking at him as an individual, even though he has run on the turf for most of his career, he's been able to hold his form even with that synthetic race out at Turfway Park. But, you know, turf courses, they're not all the same. So the fact that he is able to transfer his form turf course to turf course, different surfaces, different distances, that just kind of tells me that he's kind of that type of horse I would expect him to run his race. Now, I gave him a look from that perspective, but then I looked at his current form in his races, and he's going to get faster. He's just not fast enough. Like and part of that might be the reason why they're going to try the dirt, because he hasn't, as you mentioned, he has that back class, he has those graded stakes wins, but overall he really hasn't moved forward number-wise. He's kind of running that same race. So I think those last couple races, maybe the connections have been like, well, let's see if this is an option. If he's tending to run his same race every single time, if he runs the same race on dirt, at least that gives us some options.
And I tend to wonder how much action the horse will take just because of that back class. But I'm kind of with you there. I thought you could look a couple other ways too. Happy American is a horse that was a little intriguing to me as well. This is a horse that was 12-1 behind Rattle and Roll in that last out and comes back in here. Probably needs that pace to chase. So maybe you're going to need a Call Me Fast to go out with Pioneer Medina and Cook Creek. But if they do hook up, this was the one horse that intrigued me a little bit, because I thought Happy American could be a price play in here.
I think so too. And I think just as far as all the horses in this race, I think Happy American is the most intended for this spot, because he's run well at Churchill Downs. He's reset his form cycle. He's coming back in 42 days. The other races this season, they were all under about 30 days or around 35 days rest. So he's had that reset. They've been pointing to this spot. James Graham's been a regular rider on this horse going all the way back. They've run well at Churchill Downs, and they've run well under kind of similar plot scenarios. As I mentioned, it is a red plot fit, so that just kind of says there's a lot of ways that it could go. But the one constant is there is a sun contention, and there is a 38 speed rate. So I went back and I looked at kind of those races where Happy American has run well, and it's been under conditions like this. A sun contention, the speed rate around 35 to 50, which is right where it is today. So he should be in the right spot. He's just a horse that's going to need a top effort in order to do so. But if Rattle and Roll is a little bit short coming back in 15 days, who has a similar running style, and again, intent. And I think there's a lot of intent and could be the value in this race as well.
I'm going to work around that horse for sure. Maybe Rattle and Roll too. We'll see how things unfold in the Blame. But hey, we're only 26 minutes to post for the opener here at Hawthorne today, which is great because we're rolling along. We tried to do the show outside yesterday, Emily, and Mother Nature wasn't having it for the first time really in a month. We got a little bit of rain. It didn't really affect anything. It was still fast and firm yesterday, just enough to rain us off the pre-race show more than anything. But hey, we're back inside today, so see how things unfold. 7 races today, fast main track, firm turf. Race 6 was hurt a little bit by the scratches in there. The rest of the card held together okay. Race number 1, Emily, goes 1 mile and 70 yards. The 4, Future Vision, is out of race number 1, so it leaves you with a field of 5. You and I kind of looked at things similarly in here. Where's Lucky was the horse that I had on top. Taking some action bet down to 3-1. I know you said Madeline's Heat in and Alice has had a little bit of a look to you as well. How do you see race 1 unfolding?
Yeah, I think we saw it the same way because it looks like the pace should be contentious, even with Future Vision out, which would have been one of the pace setters in this field, should still be contentious with Option on the rail, Tequila Revolution, and even Stormborn on the outside, horses that want to be on or near the lead. So should give Where's Lucky plenty of pace to close into. Now, Madeline's Heat is another one that comes from off the pace. And looking at Optics plot, it's not as strong. You've got the square on Where's Lucky versus circle of Madeline's Heat. But some of that comes down to Trip and the fact that it's just age. He's coming back in the second start of the form cycle and could be sitting on a peak effort. So taking a lot of that information with a grain of salt. And again, just in terms of race shape, if he is sitting on a peak effort, could come running late.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised actually to see Option as your 9-5 favorite right now because I think Tequila Revolution may be the better racehorse right now form-wise. But again, pace scenario-wise, it looks like the pace could be fairly swift. So I'm with you. I think Where's Lucky is actually a good horse to work around. It's a tailwind in the lane. The track played very evenly yesterday too, so I think you can come from out of it, and we'll see how things unfold. We had not very gentle rally from off the pace in the opener. Whereas
nice.
Lucky maybe gets the same trip. Yeah, that was a great price yesterday too, so I was happy to kick off the pick 5 with that. All right, race number 2 today goes a mile and 70 yards, $20,000 starter optional company, starts the 50-cent early pick 4. A reminder, 15% takeout for the pick 4 and pick 5, 12% takeout on win, place, and show wagers here at Hawthorne. Pinedale is the favorite. It's coming in off a race that came off the turf in that last out, and the horse ran a really good race. I had that one in the mix. I know you kind of looked around to multiple horses in here. Who do you want to start with in the spot for you for race number 2?
Well, I'll mention Pinedale because a lot of times it starts by assessing the favorite, right? And Pinedale being the favorite. And as you mentioned, coming off that big effort. It's a horse that he's coming off that new top, and the same thing with Seminole Beach. So there's some concern just in terms of this horse being able to hold his form based on previous patterns. So I was a little bit negative on those 2 horses for that reason. And then some other positive patterns, number 6, First Mazamoon, and even Bourbon Delight tend to be on an every other pattern, give First Mazamoon a bit of an edge just of those 2, trying to split them. And then number 3, BLE, kind of shows a similar pattern, has a competitive race under similar conditions going back to April 27. And so there could be some intention with the connections going second off the claim. And then Gold Buckle was kind of another one, and a horse that just shows a similar surface distance plot, should be able to rebound from those Oaklawn races where he's in just a little bit too tough, had a wide trip in the Trails End Stakes. That was just such a weird day to close out because the track was drying out, it sped up late, and I just don't think this horse had a chance. Should be in the right spot in here, but really my opinion kind of starts around Pinedale as the favorite in this race, and if he's unable to pair up tops, then that could open up the race. If he is able to pair up tops, he could certainly compete. Right,
it's a great note on Bourbon Delight too, because you look at the every other cycle, the 2 races in between, not great at all, but the last might have been on the surface that just wasn't the right surface either. So Bourbon Delight, every right to bounce back, and I think that horse will be a good price as well in race number 2. Third race on the card, $4,000 claimers go 3/4 of a mile. It's a field of 7 to line up in race number 3. I thought this was a very evenly matched bunch. Trainer Ralph Martinez does have 2 in here, and Kiana's Love and Alma Fuerte. Both have run well here at Hawthorne. I know you gave both of these horses a look. I actually went to Galib's Magic off a pretty good effort last out. But why don't you go with the 2 Ralph Martinez horses?
Yeah, we'll start there. I think they both have races that would fit. If I was looking at the plot, Galib's Magic always looks good on the plot. Ran to it last out and looks similar today. But it's a similar plot to Kiana's Love. So I just thought maybe I'll be a little bit more creative just in terms of price, but no knock on Galib's Magic. Alma Fuerte, I don't think she's as good of a racehorse as Kiana's Love. Kiana's Love seems to be a little bit better. But Alma Fuerte is just one that's just kind of consistent, like she's always there. And so she's not without a chance if she's just able to run the races she always runs and then just falls into a trip, which we've seen at this level many times. So one I just figured would be worth giving a mention at a price.
And here's the thing about Alma Fuerte. I mean, 41 to 62 on the board on her curse. So like you mentioned, just kind of like that ATM type of horse. Always right there. Maybe not always in the winner's circle, but the horse just puts forth a good, honest effort each start out. And this is going to be interesting too because we know Apollo You Anywhere is going to go out there and show speed, but Kiana's Love could. Her gold line is more route speed than sprinting speed, so I'll be curious to see how that one runs. But again, it's a race you can look to some different spots, maybe find a little bit of value, try to beat a favorite there, and see how things unfold for the 3rd. Now, the 4th was that race that we mentioned, Emily, that got hurt a little bit by scratches. The 3 Lucky Shot is actually very well placed in a race on Sunday. They're in a non-winners of 4 race where I really like how they fit Sunday. Real News, the trainer scratch, who was interesting because the horse was claimed at Churchill and making the first start of the year. And then Vet Scratch is on the outside with Kennesaw and Game Boy Benny. But here's the thing, Ian Glass we know is going to take action. Landmark Deal we know is going to take some action. So I think we kind of start with those two and work from there. So let's start with Ian Glass on the inside.
Yeah, I just think this horse is very logical in here. Seemed like they were giving the horse the race last out as far as the distance, keeping him protected. Comes back in for a tag, which isn't too concerning. He's been in for a tag in the past. Just getting this horse where he can compete, is fit, is second off. Just everything points to this is the time and place, looks favorable on the plot. So I have no knocks on him. Landmark Deal as an individual, no knocks on him either, but in terms of race shape and in terms of pace, he's going to have to come from off the pace. So you just keep that in mind with a shorter price and a horse that's a little bit more logical, that has some tactical speed, could be tougher for him to run down. And I just thought if you are looking to a closer in here, number 7, Star of Kodiak, has kind of a similar late kick, similar plot position, and should be a little bit better value of the two.
And here's the thing, go back to Star of Kodiak's last race at Horseshoe Indianapolis, because that race was much better than even how it looks on paper.
That was a crazy trip, too.
Yeah, we know the winner of that race, Never Have I Ever, who's run here at Hawthorne and won numerous turf sprints over this Hawthorne track. And Star of Kodiak was at the back of the pack in that race, but this was a horse that was full of run, galloped out well, finished nicely, and now you come here today and you get a 16th of a mile further, and this is the best distance for this racehorse also. So if there's enough pace to chase, and that was the only thing that worried me, was we lost a little bit of pace with Lucky Shot and Real News out, but Star of Kodiak can definitely be in the mix. Landmark Deal I did put on top. I didn't know what to do with the horse now after the scratches, because there's back class in here, a barn that we know is always very good on the turf, and Alexis Centeno is riding very well too. I don't mind the step up from 16 to 20 here coming out of that race at Tampa. The distance scares me a little bit. I don't know if 5.5 is the optimal distance. Like that they're giving it a try though, and we'll see what kind of price we get, because I think Ian Glass is probably going to be a pretty short price favorite there in race number 4.
I think so.
Race 5 is a good allowance race. We go 3/4 of a mile in the 5th here. Filly and Mare allowance. This is a field of 7 in this spot. 2 in here from the barn of Frank Kirby, Rainy Mountain and Stormy Empire. So Rainy Mountain was entered in the stake in that last out. It's kind of a free square there. If you want to scratch, you can scratch for any reason out of a stake. So it didn't matter. They might have just said that stake was too tough, and this is a spot where they want to, where they come and want to belong. I went back to Rainy Mountain in this spot. I think the horse does fit nicely in here today.
Yeah, I had a hard time with this race because it is a higher level allowance, but a lot of the horses are kind of just, I've always been a little bit cut below. And so in some ways that makes for a good race because it makes it competitive, right? Like we saw that this year in the Derby, right? It wasn't like you had this field of like solid grade 1 horses. You had some good horses that were maybe not quite the best crop we've ever seen, but it turned into a competitive race. And so I think this is kind of the same way. I mean, I went with Rainy Mountain as well, just because she's in form, should be able to get the right trip. Seems well met in this spot. And I looked at her stablemate as well, number 7, Stormy Empire. Again, it's a 7-year-old mare, so there's not like some of these lightly raced types that have a lot of upside. She is who she is, but off her trips this year, there is upside because she hasn't really had a chance to get her best run. Last out, it can almost be an excuse where she broke slow and wasn't asked for run, and overall visuals suggested that she had more run, so I think she'll run better today. And then number 4, Style. I mean, Trip is going to come into play, but another one that has some back class, has some back races that fit, that if she just catches kind of the right time and place, she could compete. I like this race a lot. I thought it was kind of fun.
Yeah, I thought Style was a really good claim for 16 that last out. I like that they step up to try the allowance test. I remember giving Larry Ravelli grief the day after 2 fills ran in the Derby about Wilma Mankiller winning, because I did not like the horse in that race, and the horse ran a very good race. Extended nicely in the lane, went on to win by a 2 1/4, and you don't get 9 to 1 too often on a Larry Ravelli winner. So that was intriguing to me. Begbar and Steele's been pretty consistent. That was against State Bred Company, but you're right. It's a good race. You can look a few different ways. We didn't even talk about It's Greek to Me or Palace Magic, and they're both coming off victories. So it is. It's a solid race from top to bottom in race 5. We agree on Rainy Mountain, but I think try to pair it up with somebody, maybe catch a little bit of an exacta there in the 5th. Race 6 goes a mile and 70 yards, $40,000 optional claiming allowance company. This is a good race as well. Field of 7 in this spot, scratch the 5, Bandit Swanson. It's tough because Read the Cliff Notes loves Hawthorne. Gita's Lad loves Hawthorne. But I picked Silver Quarters in that last down. I think Pat's Property is a horse that could be intriguing as well. So why don't we start with Pat's Property, just because we talked about horses coming from Oaklawn, coming here, running well, and this could be one of those.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the pace scenario comes into play, and I think he actually puts a lot of pace pressure on Read the Cliff Notes and Gita's Lad because he's fast. And he's coming out of races that, in terms of if you look at pace figures, he's coming out of much faster paced races. So his presence in this race is going to make those other horses work on the front end. So I gave him a slight edge just of kind of the best of the speed.
Yeah.
But I lean sort of the same direction with you with Silver Quarters as a horse that has form, coming into the race the right way, finally going to get some pace to run into.
Right.
And that could just be it. You know, there's an honest pace, that fire contention, be able to pick up horses. The same thing with Notary. I mean, he doesn't look as strong on the plot. He's a circle as the big square of Silver Quarters in quadrant 4. But a lot of that has to do with trips, right? Yeah. If horses have trips, their form isn't going to necessarily indicate their ability. You kind of have to read through the lines. And I feel like that's what it is with Notary. Could be some intent in here. Ingrid Mason has been a little bit cold. She's had horses that looked like they were well met in their spots, still looking for that first win. And maybe this is one. I mean, Julio Felix taking the call, that's a live sign.
Yep.
So I'll give that one a look at a price in there as well.
She's got a horse I was just handicapping Sunday's card by the name of Eagle Maniac that we liked last time. That's coming back on Sunday. That has a big shot. I do think this barn's going to wake up for sure. Silver Quarters, the last race, I think the thing that dictated that last race was Gita's Lad not going in there because there wasn't the pace to run at. And Gita's Lad ran okay, finished third. Silver Quarters, I thought, ran really well to finish second. I agree with you. I think there's more pace in this race. I think it benefits a horse like Silver Quarters, and I still think you get a decent price. I think you'll get right around that 6-1 in here. That's what we want. Get some value there, and hope we can make some money to kick off the late double. Now, race 7, jackpot high five wager in the last at carryover, $79,506. Scratch the 4, Sally's Surprise. Scratch the 6, Miss Kitty Pie in the 11. Aaliyah Esri, this is a horse that we just called the 7 or 8 last time, whatever the number it was. Safe Travels draws in. Javier Tavares aboard that one. Always watch out when a horse draws into a race because there's intent there as well. We both talked about the 5. My lips are sealed in here. Again, it's a good allowance race. That's a good barn for sure. And this is a horse running pretty well against Open Company down in Florida over the winter.
Yeah, I think just the circuit switch alone just moves this horse up. Plus, as you mentioned, the live connections, going to be a short price in here. Just kind of seems like the horse to beat. But if I'm looking at Optics plot and I see my lips are sealed, it's a big square in quadrant 2. But it's overlapping number 8, Leah Rowe. So if I like my lips are sealed, I have to like Leah Rowe, who's going to be a better price in this race, just based on the data. The scratches kind of change the pace complexion a little bit, but those two horses still have some tactical speed. You mentioned the also eligible Safe Travels drawing in. A horse is going to present more speed in this race, make it a little bit interesting. Maybe Kingsbury's Dream gets a piece, but it's going to have to come from out of it. But, you know, tough to get too creative in here.
Yeah, Kingsbury Dream's probably a piece underneath. The horse winless on the grass, but I'll tell you, 9 of 16 on the board makes you have to consider it. Leah Rowe really likes the turf. 16 of 23 on the board on the grass, and that's a horse that again, a good clean 2-back, and I like the step up here. So see how things unfold. That's a really good betting race as well for the last. All right, we're 13 minutes to post for today's opener, so let's flip back to the first. As you see the field in the paddock for race 1. 6250 claimers, non-winners of 2 lifetime. Scratch the 4 Future Vision. Field of 5 lines up for the opener. Now again, we have a fast track, firm turf. It is warm out, so they'll probably go out there just a little bit later today. But we'll see how things unfold for how the track plays with that tailwind. And Emily, right now, inside, outside for your favorites, and I'm surprised actually a little bit with both. Option at 2-1, Stormborn at 2-1. I think they're both kind of similar running styles. I still think it sets up for a closer in here, which could be the 3 Where's Lucky.
Yeah, I absolutely see it the same way. I mean, both Option and Stormborn coming out of their N2 races last out were both up close to the pace, and they were the FTQ. They were the first to quit of the duel, so now they have each other to deal with. They've shown that lack of stick. Maybe the slight class change assists Stormborn of those 2, just if you're trying to split them in terms of price on the board. But as you mentioned, we did the pre-race show. You have Tequila Revolution in there, who's maybe the fastest of those 2 with early speed and a better price of those 2. If you were looking for a horse, if you thought this race was going to be dominated on the front end, would be the value of the group.
Well, and the thing that's interesting about the 2 Tequila Revolution, the horse had to go to Will Rogers to get that victory, but I'll tell you, it makes a pretty good impression in the paddock right now, has put together back-to-back races, so you can't completely dismiss this horse. It's connections that went somewhere to win, which I like that move. I like that they gave the horse the opportunity to build some confidence. It is a good barn. I mean, Julio Felix riding for Ingrid Mason. They always do well. And I do think the horse is going to be in the mix. So we'll see how things unfold for Tequila Revolution. I'm a little surprised to see 7-2 on this horse, though, Emily.
Yeah, you think it should be shorter?
I think it should be shorter. I would expect 2-1, 5-2, but
Yeah, and it does. I mean, kind of looking, we don't have the wheel pace here, but looking at the exactas, it doesn't seem like it's going to come down too much.
Right.
So it'll probably stick around there. Should probably talk about the horse that both you and I think is logical, right past the camera right there, number 3, Where's Lucky, coming back in 3 weeks, and it's been really kind of compromised by the race shapes and some trips in the races this season, and probably a horse that needs to show a little bit more, but also getting the right chance to run their race. Should be in the right spot today. Walking by, I mean, no knocks as far as their physical.
No knocks by any means. Let's touch on the one horse here, just because they're the favorite. They just walked out of the saddle installed there. That's Option. Emmanuel Giles aboard this runner today for trainer Antonio Moraz. Claimed off a second place effort in that start, a 3-back. Has been at this level in the last couple. It's interesting. This horse, to me, kind of makes the top when they go slow.
Yeah.
When they go a little bit faster, this is a horse that has the rate, and I don't think rating is really where they want to run from. So I'll be curious. To me, if Option doesn't make the top, I don't know if the horse can win, so I'm a little surprised to see 9-5.
Yeah, I mean, just looking through all of his races, he's never passed a horse, and his 2 wins, or 1 win, I should say, was a lone trip that was under poor weather conditions back on November 18th, and then he had a lone lead here back on April 6th and just couldn't quite hang on late. Got run down that day. I think I liked him that day as a price, kind of coming back in terms of the race shape, took a tough beat. But number-wise, maybe they're going to cycle back. They did run a new top effort back on April 23rd, and again, lost ground late in a duel. But the pace is going to be, like you mentioned, it's going to be a different scenario because they want to be on or near the lead, and so do others in this field.
Yeah, exactly. The other one we'll touch on there is the 5 horse. That's Madeline's Heat. You see that one there in the walking ring as well. Just based off 12-1, this is one of 2 in here from Brian Cook. He also has Stormborn, who is going to keep things honest. But you look right there at the 5, Madeline's Heat, and yes, recent races don't look great by any means. You get back to some of the races at the start of the meet, though, last fall, Emily, and those are races that put this horse in the mix, and you're looking at 14-1.
Exactly, and that's kind of why I gave this horse a look. I mean, he's second off the layoff. He followed that same pattern last year. He kind of gave the horse a race. The horse improved. Even though he didn't win, he improved speed figure-wise. There were some subtle trips. There were competitive races under the same 62-50 N2 condition, and should have pace in here. Could be sitting on a top effort. I did notice that the front wraps were added today, which is a bit of a change just for what it's worth. But you are getting some price compensation in there. I like that Centeno is back aboard. I think that's a positive sign. Could show some intent for this race. Had some trouble at the start last out, but again, probably wasn't meant for that race. Comes back in 3 weeks. And if you're just projecting some upside, he is still relatively lightly raced. Second start of the 4-year-old campaign.
Yeah, and you get the trainer walking the horse there as well with Madeline's Heat. So see how things unfold for the opener. They're going to head out shortly here for race number 1. Good luck.
Racing fans here at Hawthorne, we're 8 minutes away from the first race. First race starts, the rolling daily doubles, rolling pick 3s, and the 50-cent pick 5. In the first race, scratch 4, Future Vision, scratch 4, Future Vision. Second race starts the pick 6 today and the early pick 4. There are no changes. Third race, there are no changes. We do have a workout for 4, Kiana's Love. Kiana's Love worked at FanDuel Racing on May 29th, 4 furlongs, 50 flat breezing on a fast track. That worked for 4, Kiana's Love. Fourth race starts a late pick 4, Turf Firm, rail set at 20 feet out, scratch 3, Lucky Shot, scratch 6, Real News, scratch 9, Kennesaw, scratch 10, Game Boy Benny. Fourth race, scratch 3, Lucky Shot, scratch 6, Real News, scratch 9, Kennesaw, scratch 10, Game Boy Benny. That's Game Boy Benny. And the fifth race has no changes. Those are the changes in your pick 5 races. Once again, the dirt track is fast. The turf is firm with the rail set at 20 feet out on the turf course. For those of you off track, we have a tailwind in the home stretch of about 7 to 10 miles per hour. We do urge you to make your selections early, avoid being shut out. 7 minutes till post for the first at Hawthorne. On the track for the Thursday opener, they'll go mile and 7 yards on a fast track. Scratch number 4, Future Vision. That leaves a field of 5. No jockey changes, no overweights. Win Play Show, Exacta Trifecta Superfecta starts the early daily, the rolling daily doubles, rolling pick 3s, and the 50-cent pick 5. They are parading here. They are one option. Emmanuel Giles riding. 2 is Tequila Revolution with Julio Felix. 3, Where's Lucky? Abel Liscano riding today. 4 is Scratched. 5 is Madeline's Heat and Alexis Centeno. And number 6, Stormborn, Javier Tavares. We'll bring him to the gate, and they'll all be there in about 2 minutes to kick off the Thursday program. Once again, the dirt track is fast. The turf is listed as firm with the rail set at 20 feet out. 2 minutes till post. Racing fans, little time remains for you to wager on today's first race here at Hawthorne. We do thank you for joining us wherever you may be across the betting network. Comfort of your own home here at Hawthorne, off-track, inter-track facilities across the world. We do thank you. 7 races. The dirt track will be fast all day. Turf will be firm all day. Rail set at 20 feet out. 1 carryover. The 7th race, Jackpot High 5 carryover, $79,505. They're moving towards the gate. We're less than a minute for the first at Hawthorne. Racing fans are at the starting gate for today's first race. Horses are entering the starting gate. Only 5 to go in here in the opener. Last 2 to go in will be Where's Lucky and Storm Born. Waiting. For Storm Born. He's in, they're all in the gate. They're off. Option out fast for the lead. Tequila Revolution came away well. Stormborn moves up 3rd. Where's Lucky 4th, and Madeline's Heat is the early trailer as they race into the first turn. It's Option with the lead. Tequila Revolution right there tracking him 2nd with 7 furlongs to go. It's a 5-length gap to find Stormborn. Then it's Where's Lucky. Madeline's Heat trailed more than 20 lengths behind the leader as they turn on to the backstretch. The quarter was timed in 24.69 And up the backstretch they go. Option leads the way. Tequila Revolution right there in 2nd. And then Stormborn's on the outside of Where's Lucky. Still far back trailing Madeline's Heat. Not much change in the plot. 4.5 furlongs to go. Option keeps the lead. Tequila Revolution right there in 2nd. Still 6 lengths back to Where's Lucky. Stormborn, Madeline's Heat at the end. They run into the far turn and Option leads by 2.5 lengths. Tequila Revolution still 2nd. Towards the inside, Where's Lucky. Alongside that one, Stormborn. Madeline's Heat is a closer 5th, but still 12 behind this long-time leader. Emmanuel Giles has Option up top. They're trying to go all the way. They still lead by 4. Around the turn, they're in the stretch, and Option comes off the turn, 4 on top. Tequila Revolution still in 2nd. In 3rd is Where's Lucky, followed up by Stormborn and Madeline's Heat. Inside the final furlong, Option has the lead, starting to draw clear with each and every stride. Tequila Revolution, Where's Lucky coming to the wire. Option an easy winner in the Thursday opener. Option won by double digits. Tequila Revolution 2nd, Where's Lucky 3rd, Stormborn 4th. In today's first race, 1 Option finished first, 2 Tequila Revolution 2nd, 3 Where's Lucky 3rd, 6 Stormborn 4th. 1-2-3-6 is posted. It's unofficial. 1:43.31 the running time. Mile 70 yards. Fast track. Returning the unofficial winner one option owned by Miguel Luna, trained by Antonio Moraz, Emmanuel Giles, the winning rider. Still unofficial. First race official running time 1:43.31, 50 cent. The dollar exacta 1-2, $7.70. 50-cent trifecta is easy as 1-2-3, $6.75. Superfecta 1-2-3-6, $4.36. Second race today as one play show exacta trifecta superfecta. It starts another daily double, another pick 3. Today's 50-cent early pick 4, and this race starts the pick 6 today on the 7th race program. So here are the changes in your pick 6 races. Second race, no jockey changes, scratch or overweights. No changes in the second. Third race, no jockey changes, scratch or overweights. Fourth race starts the late pick 4, turf firm, rail set at 20 feet out. Scratch 3, lucky shot. Scratch 6, real news. Scratch 9, Kennesaw. Scratch 10, Game Boy Benny. Fourth race, scratch 3, lucky shot. Scratch 6, real news. Scratch 9, Kennesaw. Scratch 10, Game Boy Benny. Fifth race, no changes. Sixth race, scratch 5, Bandit Swanson. Seventh race, turf firm, rail set at 20 feet out. Jackpot I-5 carryover, $79,505. Scratch 4, Sally Surprise. Scratch 4, Sally Surprise. Scratch 6, Miss Kitty Pie. Scratch 6, Miss Kitty Pie. Scratch 11, Leah Esri. Scratch 11, Leah Esri. 12, Safe Travels will race, and the rider changed to Javier Tavares on 12, Safe Travels. The weight's okay. Javier Tavares rides 12, Safe Travels. Post time in 23 minutes at 3:03. This race starts the early pick 4 and today's pick 6. Track fast, turf firm. In all cases, make your selections early. Thank you.
Well, looking back to race number 1 today, both Emily Gullikson and I talked option right into the winner's circle there, as we didn't think this horse was going to be loose and lonely on the lead. Pace complexion changed though when Stormborn stumbled out of the gate, then a left option all alone, and that one just cruised along to the victory. They run a 1-2-3 in race number 1. Here in race number 2, 50-cent early pick 4 wagering in this spot. We go a mile and 70 yards once again. $20,000 starter optional company with that field of 6. Favorite on the board right now at even money is the 2 Pinedale, and you have to think so coming in off that last effort. That was a really good effort for Pinedale. This horse claimed for $8,500 out of that start 2-back. That last out was entered in a race that was on the turf. Race came off the grass. There was still a field of 8 in there, but Pinedale was sent off at odds of nearly 8-1 and ran a big race. Rated close to the pace in that spot, battled through the lane, got up in time to win by 3/4 of a length. You look at this field here, it looks like Bourbon Delight maybe can show a little bit of speed. Maybe First Masamoon as well, but I think Pinedale should be right there once again. I expect them to be kind of bunched up front early on, and we'll see if this one kicks away late, but a repeat of that last performance makes Pinedale very tough as the horse sits right now at even money. Now the 6 First Masamoon is currently at 4-1. Javier Tavares aboard this runner for trainer Carlos Ramirez. His First Masamoon, 3 starts on the meet. Definitely improved in those last couple. It's in those last couple of starts, rated in that second flight early on before moving forwardly in the lane. You do come in off a little bit of a layoff into the spot, but a pretty good work. 5/8 of a mile and 59-2 leading into today's race as well. Just a 1 win at the distance, but 8 of 10 on the board. As First Masamoon, horse that I do think can contend at that 4-1 price. The 3 horse in here is BLE. You get a look at BLE right there. I'm really surprised to see 22-1 on this runner, as this is a horse that ran a good race at this level, and that start 2-back is in that spot. Rated in that second flight early on. Could rally late. Moment, the winner of that race, is a horse that's always been good here at Hawthorne. Now, the last out for BLE is a horse that really wasn't the best trip. Rated up close early before giving way in the lane, but was sent off at odds of 7-2 that day. Give the horse another look in here. Give the horse another chance. 23-1, way too big of a price. I do think it does come down as we get closer to post time, but don't dismiss the chances of the 3 BLE. Here, though, in the second, looking on top to the 2, that's Pinedale. Followed up the 6, First Masamoon. Then go the 3, BLE. In the spot, we offer win, play, show, exacta, trifecta, superfecta, double pick 3 and pick 4 wagering. Good luck with your selections. They'll head out shortly for race 2.
Coming on the track for the second race, they'll go a mile and 70 yards on a fast track. Field of 6, no changes. Win, play, show, exacta, trifecta, superfecta. This race starts another daily double, another pick 3, today's 50-cent early pick 4, and today's 50-cent pick 6. Post time in 5 minutes. Parading, here they are. 1, Bourbon Delight, Julio Felix riding. 2 is Pinedale, Emmanuel Giles looking for both ends of first daily double today. 3 is Bialio Fernandez aboard. 4, Seminole Beach will be handled by Rainier Arrieta. 5, Gold Buckle, Alexis Centeno up. 6, First Massimo, Javier Tavares will bring him to the gate, and they'll all be there in about 4 minutes to kick off the early pick 4 and today's pick 6. Track fast, turf firm at Hawthorne. Little time remains for you to wager on today's second race, which features rolling doubles, rolling pick threes, the early pick 4 wager, and the start of the pick 6. They're moving towards the gate. Less than a minute. Better hurry. Now they're at the starting gate for today's second race here at Hawthorne. Horses are entering the starting gate. Last two to go in will be BLE and First Masamoon. Waiting now for First Masamoon. They're all in the gate. They're off. Seminole Beach out fast for the lead. Bourbon Delight came away well in between those two. Pinedale. First Masamoon moves up fourth. Gold Buckle fifth. BLE is the early trailer. As they run into the first turn, Bourbon Delight leads by 2.5 lengths. And around the turn and on to the backstretch, Bourbon Delight by 2.5 lengths. Seminole Beach on the outside of Pinedale, second and third. It's another 2.5 back to Gold Buckle and First Masamoon. And trailing the field, BLE. BLE's about 9 lengths behind the leader with 5.5 furlongs to go. And on the mid-backstretch, Bourbon Delight in control, leads by 3 lengths. Seminole Beach out there second. Towards the inside, Pinedale now moving in tandem to Gold Buckle and First Masamoon, trailing still BLE. They move into the far turn. Bourbon Delight keeps the lead. Seminole Beach in between horses now second. 3 wide. First Masamoon gains ground third. Gold Buckle fourth. Pinedale shuffled back to fifth. And BLE still trails 12 lengths behind this leader. Bourbon Delight holds firm as they come to the top of the stretch. First Masamoon continues to rally on. And as they reach the top of the stretch, First Masamoon takes the lead. Around the turn, they're in the stretch. First Masamoon drifts out, but still has the lead. Bourbon Delight trying to fight back second. Seminole Beach is coming on again third. On the far outside, Pinedale fourth. They're in deep stretch. It's First Masamoon, the leader. On the inside, fighting back under a furious left-handed whip is Bourbon Delight. First Masamoon, Bourbon Delight is coming back. Bourbon Delight would not be denied under a rousing ride by Julio Felix. Bourbon Delight won it. First Masamoon second, Seminole Beach and Pinedale fourth. In today's second race, 1, Bourbon Delight finished first. 6, First Massa Moon was second. 4, Seminole Beach third. 2, Pinedale fourth. 1642 is posted. It's unofficial. 143.32 the running time. Returning as the official winner, 1, Bourbon Delight. Bourbon Delight owned by Marcelo Pequinto, trained by Isidro Castro, ridden today by Julio Felix. Second race official, running time 143.32. Prices in a moment. The Exacta 1-6, $112.30. Trifecta 164, $322 even. Superfecta 1642, $239.82. The first daily double of the day, 1 and 1, $83 even. Third race today has no jockey changes, scratch or overweights. Win, play, show, Exacta, Trifecta, Superfecta. Starts another daily double, another pick 3. In the fourth race, Turf Firm, it starts a late pick 4. Rail set at 20 feet out. Scratch 3, Lucky Shot. Scratch 6, Real News. Scratch 9, Kennesaw. Scratch 10, Game Boy Bunny. Fourth race, scratch 3, Lucky Shot. Scratch 6, Real News. Scratch 9, Kennesaw. Scratch 10, Game Boy Bunny. Fifth race has no changes. Post time for the third in 21 minutes at 3:34. Track fast, Turf Firm in all cases. Make your selections early. Thank you.